The first fall scrimmage for the Tennessee Vols is officially in the books. Today we discuss the standouts, what happened, and the clear leader now at QB1 for the Vols. We talk about it and more today coming up on the show. Jibo! All right, sorry, y'all, man. Y'all forgive me. Y'all forgive me. Sorry, I had got a phone call. Had to call somebody, man. Been busy getting back. All right, but look, we got a lot to talk about today. We are talking Tennessee Vols, all right, and the latest, man. So there's been a lot of talk in the chatter, all right. And the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway has to be Faizon Brandon, all right. And the reason that's one of the biggest takeaways for the Vols is this one reason, from what Joey Peterson had to say. This is obviously be a ball quest. Okay. So basically, this is what Brent Hubbs had to say after the Tennessee scrimmage. I think Faizon Brandon is a guy that it feels like the more players that are on the field, the more plays he seems to make right now. Not decided by any means. George did not have an awful day, as Josh Heupel said. They both took care of the ball, but you hear a lot of people, and it's the talent of Faizon that oozes out, right? That says a lot. And here's a little bit of what he was doing at practice so you guys can be able to see this, right? And I heard in practice he landed with two deep balls deep down the field, right? Two deep balls, or I would say two, multiple deep balls, excuse me, down the field that he connected on. And for George, I just feel like it's a tough situation because I feel like he's doing everything he's supposed to do. I feel like he's doing the right things, making the right reads, and he's not turning over the football, right? So, which is making this tough. But I feel like the talent is oozing with Faison, and this is why people are excited about the Vols and everything they bring to the forefront. And they're saying for some people, not everybody, but some of the team people that cover the team are saying they feel like they have a clear leader right now in the competition. Now, nobody has been anointed as the QB1 as a starter, but they saying after this fall scrimmage, they said that boy, Faison Brandon was on fire and he was balling the hell out. All right. So that is obviously the big key there. Now, in addition to that, there's also been other news. VolQuest does a really good job. They talked about some of the key takeaways. So go check out their article as well. But they said one of the big playmakers was Mike Matthews. We just seen that big time catch deep down the field, him making plays, obviously. And we know this is a big year coming up for Mike Matthews because he is pretty much the older statesman, right? He has played for Tennessee for a while. He's been there, he's done that, and he's been a guy for them the last few years, right? And for Mike, like the big thing this year is you can have a Chris Brazzle story, right? Like you can go and have a big season and you can be in the NFL, right? Coming out of high school, 5-star prospect out of Parkview, right? Outstanding player on both sides of the ball. But for Mike, this is a big year because if he goes over 1,100, 1,200 yards and is really talented wide receiver room for Tennessee, he could potentially easily, and I mean easily, be a, I won't say a first round draft pick, but he could be a top draft pick, right? He could be first, second, third round, whatever it may be, right? I don't know how that looks for him right now, but if he continues the ball like this, that is big time. And we talked about obviously the deep ball with him in Faison, right? Tyreek King was another one that continues to show up, right? Saturday was his first day inside Neyland Stadium in the moment. Didn't seemed too big for him. King had a couple of drops, but he made multiple plays. And one person we spoke with described him as smooth. There it is. So Tyreek King is another player that's been sent out in the wide receiver room. Okay. In addition to that, right, we got to talk about some of the good sides and the bad sides. Now, from what VolQuest has talked about and what they said in their interview, they basically said, okay, the running back game looked damn good. The offensive line looked damn good, right? Obviously, you had Deshaun Bishop and you had Javin Gordon. Now, DeJuan Morris lit it all up, right? 99-yard touchdown in this one. Kind of crazy to think about. 99-yard run. That's crazy. Justin Baker also had a couple of nice runs as well to go along with Javin Gordon. And Javin Gordon has been producing for Tennessee in the last little bit. It has been major time for them. And we know for Javin, he already had a pretty productive spring. So that running back two spot is going to be very interesting. Is it Dwayne Morris? Is it Javin Gordon, right? Or is it Justin Baker? Like, who's going to be that next guy up? But I feel like, to me, it's Javin Gordon's job to lose, right? Because he's been productive. He's been doing this thing. And as you guys can see here, even got the, the shout out. Oh, sorry about that, y'all. Look like my thing is buffering. 1 second. Okay, but yes, he even got a shout out from Pete Nakos, who basically said he continues to impress in Knoxville, right? He had a strong showing today. That goes to show you, right, that this running back room is very talented, very deep, and potentially has a lot of potential moving forward. And whoever the quarterback is, it's going to make their job a lot easier moving forward. So I think that's a good telltale sign of what Tennessee can do moving forward with the running game, and obviously Javin Gordon standing out. Sorry for the buffer, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Please forgive me for that. But that's very intriguing moving forward for them as well. So Javin Gordon, the guy getting that national spotlight and steam from a Pete Nakos. Okay. So in addition to Javin Gordon, what else was said via VolQuest? Okay. So one of the issues is the defensive struggles, right? And this is the part I'm worried about. And I keep telling you guys it's the same sentiment before. Rodney Gardner. That's the name that stands out to me because this defensive line, if you're giving up a 99-yard run to Dwayne Morris and, I'm saying Justin Baker's having productive days and things like that, that worries me a little bit. And the reason it worries me is because, one, your defensive line is not being consistent, which is what he lamented this week. And we see in the fall scrimmage, if they're working off big runs like that, that's not a good thing, right? You need better play from, obviously, the defensive line. Because if they get ripping off those kind of runs, imagine some of the teams you're going to play this year on your schedule, like Texas, right? And like some of these teams that like to run that damn ball. Defensive line has to be better. And some of those struggles, gap integrity, being more consistent, that's a little troubling if I'm a Tennessee fan. I'm a little bit troubled, to say the least. So that has to improve. That has to be better. And if it's not, like, we could be in for a rude awakening. We could be in a tough time this year, right? And you can't expect Amari Campbell. You can't expect Arian Carter. You can't expect Jalen Parlati. You can't expect this great linebacking group to always clean up the messes. Defensive line has to be better and more consistent. Speaking of Arian Carter, did have a pretty good day today, per obviously VolQuest, right? Said that he put on a highlight level scrimmage. Looked very good. First scrimmage work for him. Unfortunately, he's going to be suspended for the first 2 games, which I don't understand why. Blasphemy, in my humble opinion. But good to see the senior linebacker and the Buckus Award watch list nominee, seeing him be able to put on obviously that highlight level scrimmage. So those are the remnants that are coming kind of out of Tennessee. The latest that's going on there is obviously pretty big time for them, and being able to see kind of like what's next, right? And how the team is obviously looking. But defensive line has to be much better, right? Because if they ripping off them runs, that's telling me y'all not getting on drive. Offensive line's having their way against you, and they pushing you the hell around. And that has to be better. That ain't gonna cut it. That ain't gonna cut it. It has to be better. So we're gonna see if they figure it out, they get it together. But I did want to talk about that. The last point I want to talk about is the Pete Nakos article, Inside Tennessee's First Scrimmage as Faizon Brandon and George McIntyre battle for key position. Now, we talked about that earlier on in the show, but there's a little bit more context, obviously, around, this scrimmage and obviously with Faizon and all them. Sources told On3 that both quarterbacks had moments where they flashed upside. Each also had moments where they could have been better. In particular, Brandon showed off his athleticism, arm strength with multiple longer completions deep down the field. He also had a touchdown pass in the red zone. A source said Brandon continues to show his ability to make the plays in game situations. All right, so this is what Hypo had to say. They've really had positive days, positive plays. Hypo told media members following Saturday scrimmage. They've all had one that they probably would do a little bit different. The fundamentals and technique continue to get better. Our understanding of what we're doing. Just want to see them continue to grow here over the next couple of weeks. Right, so that's the latest there. We talked about Mike Matthews and everybody, but pretty much neck and neck. But like I said, from what pundits are saying, there's a clear winner right now, or clear leader, not winner, clear leader right now between those two quarterbacks and who is standing out for Vol Nation. Right, and like I said, I feel like for George, it's going to be tough. Uphill battle, true freshman, 5-star. They're expecting him to be the starter. Most people are. So it's going to be very interesting. But if you, George, continue to handle what you need to handle. We've seen these position battles happen before. Last year, it was a 3-person battle at the quarterback position. George, unfortunately, lost it and ended up going to Joey Aguilar. But the good thing for George is this will be his second battle. And we've seen guys like Joe Burrow, right, get plunged all the way under, having to battle, and eventually got his shot. That's all George is looking for. George has had opportunities, right? But this might not be the opportunity for him, right? He can go to another program next year and potentially ball out, right? He's never transferred. This will be his first transfer. If they pass a new ruling, you get at least one before you get penalized. So for him, that could be a situation where, hey, I gave it everything I got. Obviously, they went with Faizon, but I can position myself and continue to, have a good work ethic. And then when it's time, and it's my time to decide where I want to go play next year, I can go do that. Because if I'm George, like that's 2 years in a row. Like, and then if Faizon is the guy, then what, I'm gonna have to sit behind him and never play? Like, nah. You should have the opportunity to play, which is why the one transfer is in there. You've done everything you're supposed to do. You've been smart about it. You've been asking the questions. You've been attentive in meetings. You've done everything you're supposed to do. Sometimes it's just that's your luck, right? Joe Burrow is a great example. I ain't saying he Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow is a great example of sometimes it just doesn't work out. It's not your fit. But for him, fortunately, it can. All he has to do, continue to do what you do, try your best, and then next year, find a spot in a home for you where you QB1. And I think he would end up balling out in that scheme and says, who knows? He might even become an NFL draft pick. You never know how these things work out. You never know how the coin will flip. Quarter day. You never know how the coin will flip. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting, very intriguing. I appreciate everybody tuning in, all the 4 people, man. That's the latest, obviously, on the live. Fall, obviously, scrimmage intel for the Tennessee Vols. I'm going to be covering them a lot on the channel. Them, Auburn, all 7 teams I cover. Georgia Tech, Alabama, Georgia, and obviously my Miami Hurricanes, man. But that's the latest for this video. Thank you, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, hype it up. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember, as always,